Okay, we start. Hello everyone, and this is the results of round 4 of a SpaceChem 2021 technical demo. So this is head or tails, and as you can see it looks pretty normal. You have a sensor, two quantum tunnels, 8 bonders, and you have to do these masses of molecules, which by the way are supposed to represent an affirmative and a negative answer with a circle and an X. The twist here is that the number of required outputs is 0 of 0 and 0 of 0. Now, when you just have one 0 to 0, that is used as a way to dispose of unwanted atoms. Like, there were a puzzle in 2019, I think, that had you do something pretty complex to achieve the real output that was on Psi, and then you could do the most common waste product. You could output it on Omega, and it added 0 to 0. So it is kind of a single purpose recycle. But when you have two 0 0 outputs, and we are abusing the game's naive expectation of people playing nice with puzzle editor, and this by the way is pure vanilla. There is no community edition trickery involved. What happens here is that the puzzle doesn't complete instantly, as you may think by the 0 zeros, but it completes as soon as you output one molecule. Once you output one valid molecule, the check happens and the game recognizes that you have done everything and completes the puzzle. So this puzzle is not just about making these molecules from the inputs, but also recognizing which molecule of the two you like the most, and then doing just that. The two molecules are, in my opinion, equally difficult because they are very similar and just have this central bond that is in this molecule. Noite, it's here, and in the Yesite is even the external point. On the rest, yeah, the colors are swapped, but the structure is the same. And the metric of this puzzle is a bit of a mess because it is essentially symbols plus bond that's used, and then it gives you an extra penalty if you use two values of a tune of a 10%. So this is essentially a symbols puzzle that you should try to do with one value if you want the bonus, and you should try to do it with as few bonders as possible. And you cannot take 1 billion cycles because there is also cycles included, but they are a secondary well suppressed by a tiny coefficient. Now, talked enough about the puzzle, we start with the solutions. So the first one is Tweedledee, at least I hope so. And well, we'll start seeing here something we will see many times. Like, you have to do just one. So you don't need to look back once you've outputted. You don't care what happens once you've put this molecule here and you hit the out. So you just let the value go away and you stop caring. Now, let's see. Bring a carbon down, bond it, bring another down, bond it. We make this fourth subunit, which is the subunit of pretty much everything. Well, we know we are doing Noite because we're dropping it down here. Then red puts it here, and here we will bond fourth subunit. Looks pretty simple, the algorithm is easy to follow. Of course, having these two here and then having the sinks, my god, the sinks, and then makes this pretty heavy. Because we keep running around and then it gives back. It is pretty heavy. But hey, it is not an extremely easy puzzle, so congratulations to everyone that solved it, I guess. Now we have Carset Flame, and he has a single value solution, so it scores better just for that. I see this. I don't like this, guys, because well, we will see it run, I guess. So we input here, but we immediately swap, so we get it here, so that we do the subunit with a much simpler route than we used before. Then we use this pair of bonder just to put an extra bond here, which honestly seems a big waste. Like, if we could do everything right and have this bonder here, we would say one bond. Yeah, I know you make extra bonds if you're not careful and stuff like that, but the puzzle wasn't geared about letting you do this kind of stuff. And then we do this again, and then we do this again. I mean, I see some pretty strange things here, like the sensor isn't used and instead a flip-flop counter is used, when the sensor could very easily cover this need placing a sensor in the correct spot. But hey, 31 symbols, one value. And I know this sensors could do it, but just to show here, this isn't good, because we can simply do this and this, and I think we get the same result. Oh yeah, 30. And we can do this, yet again same result, 29. So every time there are many accumulation of arrows into a tight spot on a symbol solution, it is worth taking a closer look at what is really happening and if we cannot streamline the whole thing a little more. Of course, the efficient way isn't this at all, but it's something like this. With a sensor on the right place, stuff like this, it would be 27 and would also be mildly faster because I will start here. And yeah, we could do better, and well, we will do better. Team Empty Space. Team Empty Space does something that looks pretty similar. Rotates twice, unbonds it, so they can do the correct pattern here just with 4 bonders. Grab again, bond it, rotates it, and now we go the other way. And when we drop it here, and we will assemble our molecule. Sure. 3. And the team like to use grab drops for everything, which I think looks bad, but I cannot mandate this. But here there is an important grab drop, because on this sensor trigger everything's come back and then it picks up the molecule again, and we're done. Again, here these look like a lot of symbols. Like this looks mostly fine, I guess, for what we're doing, but here it seems too many symbols. Like, why we need to go back here, and this looks pretty heavy. I cannot immediately tell if we can do better. And yeah, the chat is suggesting me to have grab drop count as two symbols. The reason I am not inclined to do that is that even if I think grab drops look bad when you just need grab or drop, I don't want to disincentivize people from using those, because they allow you to do clever stuff, like exactly like what happens here. You keep getting this again, and this kind of clever stuff is what makes some symbol solution look great. So as much as I dislike useless one like this one or this one or this one, they allow you to do fancy stuff. So again, I'm not sure this is the best assembly to use, but we will leave this alone for now. Well, I'm gonna do this though, because I get the symbols doesn't matter, but I mean, this is the cycles doesn't matter, but this is just wasted time. Okay, let's go on. Aperture. Better Hest. Well, I hope it is. And this is again single Valdo, and I already see something I don't like, and I will fix it very soon. But let's see what he does. He makes this L-shaped piece, and then adds another carbon, and does it so that he only needs 3 bonders. And then he has this reasonably compact rotate assembly place, because it comes here, it rotates, drops here, so the rotation puts the correct atom on the bonding spot. And then he doesn't need a sensor because he has an empty grab loop. So this is something that's pretty common in symbol solutions. you grab a spot that will be filled only once the molecule is complete, and at that point you grab and output it. Done. 26, 162. Now what it is that I don't like? It is this thing. Oh, sorry. This thing. Again, when you see things like that, you should be like, do I really need this arrow? And this is a very simple example. Like, you want to go here and then you want to come back. You are already on the correct trajectory on the back path. Let me show what I mean. Here, the flip-flop is pointing on the direction you would already go. So you need this couple flip-flop arrow only one time when you go right. And so what you can usually do is this here. So what happens? We prime this flip-flop, and now flip-flop is active. We go here, and now that we come back, the flip-flop isn't active, but we are already on the right path. And so one symbol less. This is a common pattern, and you can do this when your flip-flop causes only one change of direction, because you see, the first time we change direction, but the second time we don't. If your flip-flop arrow assembly causes two changes of direction, because say we needed this to go down now, you cannot do this. You need both the flip-flop and the arrow. Would have been 25. Let's go on. Top thought, 6 bonders. Let's see. This is radically different from other things we've seen. Okay. He bonds. Oh yeah, and then he uses this bond plus to finish the square. Oh man, he bonds it in stages. Like we have seen solution do a fourth of a molecule, and then do another fourth, and so on. But top thought binds it in pieces. Like, let's watch it a bit more careful, because it makes the first 8 of the molecule, then the second 8, and bonds it only on the top, rotates it, and it has ready on this bonded pair. Then this bond bonds this, and then we drop here, and we are ready to bond again. There is an unbond here, otherwise we would make a billion bonds, and this was something I did on purpose. Like, say, if you see the omega is always bound, just need 2 bonds, both in yes ite and in no ite. And so I could have chosen oxygen, say, and made everyone's life much easier. I didn't do that on purpose, because that would just allow people to spam bond everything and make this puzzle very uninteresting, because everything would bond right just by using bonded priority, and in my opinion it wouldn't be particularly interesting. But here you are forced to be careful and only bond stuff you do want to bond. See, here it is another bond minus, because you only want bond stuff once. And this also prevents some pretty horrifying bonded priority tricks that I didn't want to be a part of this puzzle, to be honest. Right, this rotation looks pretty good, because it places the atom right where we need to go. So let's watch the end, because the end is always a bit of a critical part, because you need to form the last bond, be it here or here, depending if it is yes ite or no ite, but it is an extra bond, and so you need to allow your assembly to do another bond. And this is how top thought does it with this sensor here, that apparently does nothing, but it is used to hit another pair of bond minus bond plus, so that it forms the last bond and drops it. And this is yet again another grab drop use that is used right, and confirmation grab drops do nice things. Then we have Darius one, which says another day, another. I think it's solution, but I don't have it at hand. He uses a sensor, so let's see. It is a bit sad he needs an arrow, but this is a kinda common thing, because when you do multi-part molecule assembly, you're asking the question, is the last monomer in? And the question, is the last monomer in, is answered by this sensor, and it is pretty often that you have no choice, and you also need the error, because you cannot ask the opposite question, like, is there nothing here? SpaceChem doesn't allow you to do that. So let's see. This is it, and okay, so we grab, bond the 3-piece. Like, his bonded assembly is also so pretty funky. So it comes back here, bonds, and then places it here. And then it will do the same thing, drop over, bond here, pick the whole piece up, and then it picks up the last atom. And then the point of assembly is similar to top fat solution. And now that we sense an atom here, we just go down to drop. And I just wanted to have a look to this flip-flop here, because we use it once. Okay, and we go back here. And so this allows us to use to have just one alpha that does both inputs. One that is the last of this monomer, and then the first of the other monomer. And of course you need to start above, because we need to start with a carbon. And as you see, this flip-flop here, it does one change of direction when we come, and another change of direction when we leave. So it is not possible to eliminate it. I mean, it could if you could go down and then say right, but then you run over the stuff, and I imagine it's not really possible. We have done 23, and this uses 5 bonders, so it is 23 plus 5. We can think of it as a 28 symbol equivalent solution. Then we have yellow bunny, yet again another 1 Valdo solution, and because of the Valdo penalty, we see we are around 20-25 symbol equivalents. So the extra Valdo costs you more than 2 symbols, and it is really difficult to make it worth it, because you may want to use it to hammer, but you're probably losing more than you gain, because hammering also introduces unwanted bonds, and there isn't really a nice way to task another Valdo when it costs you so much. So let's see, he uses yet again 5 bonders, and we have this L-shape assembly, and we have seen this used several times when we have both molecules on the side, and when we rotate twice and do the last bond. We keep doing this. Yeah, this looks pretty simple. Bonded, rotated. Let's see how he does the last bond. Grabs, bonds it, rotates it, drops it. There is this extra bond command that only activates now, and now there is a sensor that picks the molecule up and drops it. It is pretty sad it's not possible to place this another point, but you can he reuses this drop, so it still gains a symbol across the whole thing. And then you send the world away because you don't care. 23, 5 bonders, so it's 28 again. And it is better because it's faster. Nurture has a 4 plus 2, it's 6 bonders, but it has 22 symbols, so it's yet again 28 symbol equivalent, and I guess it is yet again faster. So let's see. It starts here and has the inputs here, which is a bit strange. We will check it out later. Okay, so bonds a pair, moves it up, and then has the sensor here, so it can come in, bond the carbon, and then bond everything together. These are a lot of bond symbols, but it is probably impossible to to hammer because of unwanted bonds. I mean, let's check it out. I'm not sure about that. There are probably unwanted bonds now that we are on the first one. We bond here, bond again. Yeah, this would make unwanted bonds. And we grab it and go away. Now this is very fast at 143, and I'm asking myself if we couldn't do something fancy, because you see here we will end up with a last monomer and we drop. So by not using grab drops, I can quickly identify we just drop here. But when we do this and we grab here, so I'm thinking of something like this. We grab drop here, so this is symbol neutral. I add a bond here, and I can remove this grab here, then I made everything worse, because now I need to do this, but then I need to come back, and I have definitely made everything worse, because this has started at 22, and it is yet again 22, but it is a worse 22. So what did we learn? That players know what they're doing. Well, kinda, because this is a 143, but this input beta isn't immediately needed when we are here, because it is needed just much later. We need it by the time we are here, but we don't need it sooner. So we can do this, and this is faster. Let's go on. We have 20 symbols, so this is really light, but we use 7 bonders. So this is metric 27, and we've moved down a place. Let's see. Do I have something to complain about? Yeah, probably. We will check this later. Because again, I spot arrow. This may be needed or may not. It is probably needed though. We will check later. So let's see. Bonds it. Rotate it twice. Picks up a piece here and another here. Man, these are a lot of rotations. These are a lot of rotations. Pick one here. Rotate one in one direction and then back again. Then rotate again to align the whole thing. Then bond it. Now here we see why we need a rotation. We go back here and place it right. Oh man. Yeah, and the reason this does all this complicated rotation is so that it can bond here. And by bonding here, it doesn't need to pick back the molecule from the bonding station and put it on the output, which of course saves several symbols, because we have seen in many earlier solutions you often need a grab and then a bond and then maybe an arrow, and this instead it is pretty compact. Of course it suffers in speed, but this is just how it is. 27 metric, nice. And now of course we have all a series of solutions at 27 metric, like this one, which will be faster. So let's see. This is some funky pathing, and I like the priming, so nice job, Astro Nelson. Input bond, rotate twice. By now we have seen this pattern several times. When we have this L shape of bonders, we rotate the first subunit so that the second one comes out correct, and we also bond it completely here. So it is a small win, because we don't need, say, an extra bonder here or here or here. So I mean somewhere it could be needed. I mean, let's see where the extra bonding would end up. I mean, we need them both. We need the first bond plus the first time through. The second bond plus is just needed to do this bond. And this bond, which is this bond. And yeah, we would need 2 extra bonders if you were to do it here on top of the unwanted bonds. So doing it there is the best approach. And here the placing the molecule correctly is a bit costly, and this is what makes this solution good but not excellent. And we're running again here, and we bond here because of a completely unrelated reason, and this is the last bond. So sensor is placed here to direct the Waldo away. 20 symbols. Let's go on. They were slow years. Too many bonders, I think. The full titles are in the bot post and in the bot export and so on, but I can't remember them all. So we have 21 symbols and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 27 metric. 1 Waldo yet again. Yeah, it seems that my Waldo penalty was a bit too harsh because 1 Waldo was clearly better. I mean, so we grab. Yeah, we have seen this, the L shape. But we bond here. But the reason we can is that this is oriented differently. So bonding here doesn't create unwanted bonds, but just need an extra bonder. So the whole thing is pretty efficient. And here we go. And then we have a pattern we have seen before. We use the bonding from the next monomer to do the last bond, and then we move away. And here it is a grab drop that is well used. We drop an output. 21. And as we've seen a lot of preference for noite compared to yeside, and this is because bonds on the inner square are more easily controllable than bonds on the outer square, because you can have these compact bonders alignments that act on some squares here, and they're much easier to work with than something that needs to act 1 tile away from where the action is, that is usually on the center. As a mate, smile. We have seen this many times. He rebonds on the bottom because it is placed well for him. Yet again, this is 1, 2, 3 plus 1, 5 and 22. Yet again 27. And it drops it here. So pretty standard. And the reason he cannot just drop it right, it is because it needs 1 space to bond, to go rotate after it. If you had 2 Waldos, you could make the bond right here, and so you could save other symbols away, but here you cannot use 2 Waldos because otherwise you incur worse penalties. And here we go. Again, bond used for another purpose, and we grab drop and output. 194, this is faster. And 195, sorry. One thing I want to check is this Waldo right here. Sorry, this flip-flop right here, because I'm not sure it's not primable, and I think it is definitely primable, because again, how do I think about this? So first things first, I want what is sorry, I have been asked something on chat, but I didn't understand it. So how do I think about doing this? I want to take a path that takes the Waldo through this flip-flop and then to this symbol here, because this is the first, let's call it active symbols. They are inputs or sinks. They are symbols that affect the board. So, oh yeah, now I got it. I will show you now. Chat suggested another improvement on top of the one I'm about to show. So the easiest way would be to place the start like here, but of course we do not have another row. So I think about the other path that reaches here, this one, and it seems like I can trace this Waldo all the way back. Drop isn't active, rotate isn't active, bound isn't active, and place it here. And then do this, 21, and it works. I feel so great. And chat suggested another improvement, which is this one, because we don't need to go all the way when we just need to drop here. Of course, I think this is a problem, but it's easily solved. And here we go. This would have been 26 5 and 126 metric, but alas, it is 27. And now we have Sir with I, and this is 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's see, E primes is flip-flops, and this looks similar to top thought solution. Yeah, it may be. No, it's not. It is not. It builds up the chain in 2 steps, and then bonds it and bonds again. So the assembly is similar, but he has no double bonds problem because he has an empty step here, so he doesn't need all the unbonds top thought solution needed. And then this sensor here decides when it's time to output. Nice job, it's pretty fast, and 175. Now we enter into the top 5 with Flexo that has a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 20, yet again 27 metric solution. IC rotates, so I can kind of guess, but this boundary arrangement is new. So let's see. We make a beta and then get a beta again. We bond once. Oh, we form an L with just 2 boundaries here. Then rotate again so that we can pick up this here. I think we've seen this pattern in a very earlier solution, but this looks very efficient for what it needs to do. Then we rotate again, and we will place this someplace nice, I think. We place that here. Oh yeah, so that we bond everything in 1 step. We see this here, and this does the Yesite, and we hadn't seen Yesite for some time, and it is pretty nice to see. The trade-off was actually non-trivial, because many people did know it before this. Let's see how the last bond works, and the last bond is automatic because he has 1 bonder here and 1 bonder here, and I guess I don't know if doing noite would be much different. Well, I guess it is not this atom. You would like this to be carbon, and it is not placed as nicely on the bottom. Maybe flipping everything. I mean, it is stuff for another day. Then we sense it and go away. Looks pretty nice. And I just wanted to check. Yeah, the going all the way is needed because we drop here, but we rotate here because otherwise we would collide down here, and so there are really no choices, because at this point right here we would be fine without rotating, and we would save no time because we need to drop here and probably would make everything worse. 155 is the fastest solution yet. Team bag. This is a 2 Waldo solution, and a bit unconventional here because we have seen mostly 1 Waldo solution. We also use swappers, so I mean, thank you for doing things a little bit differently. And let's see, they got, I see just one bond minus, so the penalty for using an extra Waldo was probably worth it. So let's see, runs around so that you can prime the flip-flop, inputs and swaps, which I guess saves you a trip here. Let's see, I'm not sure. And drops here. This is rotated because they've decided to go to this horizontally by swapping in instead of the usual vertical assembly we've used to. But we have seen this several times, and the bond happens automatically because the Waldo is hammering. We see this running around, and we need an unbound because otherwise this makes extra bond. Let's see this here. I'm curious of why we need to go this wide. We will check this soon. And yeah, this is we have seen this assembly point several times already. You come here, rotate, and then the drop is exactly on the right point if you're holding the corner. So we rotate it twice, and we could definitely just go down unless there are spurious bonds. Yeah, there are spurious bonds. Life is hard. Yeah, here we need to rotate or we would collide. Well, but yeah, I guess looks. I don't like this section very much, but everything looks needed, and so there are no obvious improvement at a glance. And yeah, I probably missed the last part, but it is pretty straightforward. So there is a bond hammer, so once you have placed everything right, the last bond is free, so you just escape. Counterpoint. This is a 17 symbol solution, which is the lowest we've got yet, but it is 7 bonders and a Waldo, so it is actually a fair bit more than that on the account of all the penalties. And by the way, why the metric is this way? Because in a certain sense, bonders are code in this game. Symbols are obviously code, because every symbol you place, you add behavior to your machine. But bonders are also code in a certain way, because the more you place, the more you can do stuff automatically. And so this metric makes you do a machine as simple as possible for a pretty wide array of simple things. I did not place a restriction on quantum tunnels because they already cost you a lot, because usage of this costs you a symbol, the swap one, and on top of that you cannot bond directly on the thing you swap. So I didn't feel like this needed much more punishment. So let's see. Grabs it, bonds one, comes back to do an L, bonds back again. We have seen this pattern used before. So again, bonds one as the other one, and here the flip-flop is primed, so nothing I need to say about that. It bonds it, and then it has to unbond here, otherwise it would have an actual bond. Here it rotates immediately. I was talking about this earlier. If you hammer, you can do this, and you can drop it directly on the output. And so this keeps going. Yeah, this looks extremely simple, and stuff like this would win a symbol competition if you did not have a bonder penalty. Nice. And then we have GG goal in second place. Cheaper, better, quicker. And this is single Waldo again, and we have 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 26 metric solution. And let's see. Okay, this is much stuff we've already seen. This assembly right here. And we bond and drop. And I feel like this is exactly the solution we have made by editing Alan mates earlier. Because if not exactly, it's really close. We have already seen this. Because this is 202.21, and that one was 204.21. So it is not identical, because GG Goal is a better player than I am. Oh yeah, he grabs one earlier, so it can output two earlier. Otherwise, it's the same. Nice job. And then the final one, Team 81.1 does this. This is again a true Valdo solution with a bond hammer, and they managed to not need any bond minus at all, which is honestly a pretty impressive task, and they just used 5 bonders. So let's see how they did this. And this assembly looks pretty much identical to the previous one, because we rotate twice, drop here, and yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same thing as the last solution, but it uses an hammer, so it needs way less symbols. Like the perfect execution of ideas we have seen, and it's done. Nice job, guys! Congratulations to Team 81 for taking the win. And about fun solutions, I have just received a one Waldo solution by Team 89, which we can see, and it is pretty unconventional because it uses a huge mass of bonders, and this probably uses bonder priority. Or not. No, it doesn't, because there are no, everything is comes here, and it is just everything is a single bond, so it does thing. And this does the Yesita, so it's always nice to see a Yesita solution. It's also pretty fast at 103. And I think this is everything I have for you guys. This was a much simple puzzle, because there are a lot of complex puzzles due during the next days, so I felt like doing a very easy round 4. If the chat doesn't have any more questions, I think we're done here. I think not. Thank you guys to everyone that participated and to everyone that sent some solutions. The feedback we are getting on the bot and on the processes is great. And I'll see you guys, I think tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow. Let me check for the. Let's see. Yeah, my computer is dying. It is fine. Oh yeah, it's tomorrow for the bonus puzzles deadline. Bye guys. See you.